You had to think it with him too. It wasn't just gonna be no physical thing.
He's a dog, he's a demon.
His durability and his availability is outrageous.
Facts. But like them first 2 minutes, it was just turnover, bucket, and one.
And I couldn't figure him out for almost 6 years.
Russell to Stockton. Stock for three. Stock got it. Unbelievable. John Stockton. John Stockton. It's over. The Jazz win it.
John Stockton was one of the most fundamentally sound and underrated players in NBA history, a true floor general whose impact went far beyond the stat sheet. He wasn't flashy or loud, but his basketball IQ made him an absolute monster for opposing defenses. Stockton had a rare ability to read a court like a chess master. He always knew where his teammates would be. He delivered the ball with perfect timing, often threading the needle through tight windows with surgical accuracy. He ran the pick and roll with Malone to perfection, and that duo became one of the most unstoppable offensive tandems in league history. What really sets Stockton apart though are the records. He's the NBA's all-time leader in both assists with 15,806 and steals with 3,265. And neither of those records is even remotely close to being broken. To put that in perspective, a current player would need to average 10 plus assists and 2 plus steals per game for over 15 years just to sniff those numbers. On top of that, he was incredibly durable and reliable, rarely missing games over his 19-year career, all spent with the Utah Jazz. He wasn't just good, he was dominant in the most understated, efficient, and consistent way possible. Stockton embodied old school grit, team first basketball, and elite playmaking, making one of the greatest point guards to ever touch a basketball. So here's a collection of NBA legends talking about how insanely good John Stockton was. Enjoy the video, man.
Did I hear that John Stockton was one of the toughest guys you played against as well?
He's the toughest basketball player
Whoa,
that I played against.
How so?
He's the toughest. Well, MJ, you would like to he would go to that one spot, and you can fight MJ to the spot. With John Stockton, he had the ball 94 feet.
I always used a John Stockton analogy. You know, he might not have been the most athletic guy, you know what I mean, on the court, but he was so effective. He could dominate the game by, you know, thinking the game, his mind, you know what I mean, and letting the game come to him, and, you know, seeing things before they happen and knowing, you know, what's going on in the game.
I played against John since I was 13 years old, and you know, he's a much better outside shooter, much better with the basketball, and when you're talking about, you know, Nash and Stockton, I just think from a toughness standpoint, I don't think there's a comparison, and I don't know if we have anybody in our game today with his type of toughness, physically or mentally. And you know, when you played against John, I mean, you had to bring your lunch. I mean, on the offensive side and the defensive side, because, you know, there was a toughness about him that he carried that, you know, I don't know if we have anybody in our game today that really brings that to the table. I would, you know, Stockton as a scorer, if he was in this game today, with no centers and no big, I felt like, you know, he made Malone. I don't know if Malone would have been the type of player he was had he not had a Stockton, you know, and I felt like if Malone's not in the way and you put them in this game today, I think Stockton in this game, you know, he can score the basketball easily, get to the basket, and be just as good as anybody playing.
When you first got to the league, who was the first person to bust your ass?
John Stockton.
Stockton. Damn.
Yep.
You big the motherfucker too.
Yeah, it was in Toronto. I was feeling myself. It was early on. I had some good games, and he just wore me out. He had like 27 and 15. I had like 7 and 9 or 7 and 5. But
what he was doing? He was just smarter.
Just clever, tricking me, just coming down and just picking me apart like a surgeon with a scalpel. And I was just getting more mad by the moment. And the more I got mad, the more he just started serving me. You know, And that's the only way I can say it.
Was his strength a big factor? Because people be sleep that John Stockton was strong as shit.
So John was strong and he had big hands. And so, you know how the game was played different. So he never put the ball in the left hand, first of all.
Right.
And so, thing about John, he could hold you off with that left hand like this and pass with the right, and he put the ball way back there. And that's, you know, he was just strong. And then he had old boy Malone setting setting the mean screens. You know what I mean? So nah, he was clever. He was strong. People don't understand like how, you know, you talk about some of the greats, but Stockton was, you know, he was that dude that to me you had to think it with him too. It wasn't just gonna be no physical thing. You know, you might have had more talent than him, but his mindset is what allowed him to me to be the best that he was.
His durability and his availability is outrageous.
Facts.
Please, Chad, if y'all not in the know, go look up John Stockton each season, how many games he played year in, year out. Regular season games, not including. They're making the playoffs every year, too.
He was.
That's why he has 15,000 assists, which nobody is going to touch.
15,000.
That's why
if he was the actual scorer, he would have the scoring. I mean, you're talking about 17 seasons.
That's why the guy he was passing it to is top.
It's one of those that's not going to be broken.
Now, welcome to the NBA moment. What is it?
Probably John Stockton.
He cooked you?
He like stole the ball from me like 3 times. Imagine like just getting in the game and you look up trying to get an inbound pass and that shit gone. You think you got a steal and it's like, oh man, I got a steal and that shit gone. I could have played like 8 minutes that night. But like them first 2 minutes, it was just turnover, bucket, and one. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? Go back in, the same shit. You just couldn't find them, bro. It was embarrassing.
I've never heard GP say anything good about any point guard ever in my life. He never said anything about you because he knew I was close to you. So he'd be like, that's your boy? I'd be like, yeah. He'd be like, how close are y'all? I'm like, close enough to where if we get on the court, we probably fight. Okay, that's all he would say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? John Stockton, right? He goes, hey, this boy right here, cold white boy. You don't take this for granted. You hear me? This is a, you know, this is a blessing for you. You know, when you face him, it's Mr. Stockton. The Stockton. I'm like, yeah, okay, bro. Like, you know, I love John Stockton too, but I'm gonna pick him on full court. Yeah. I get in the game, pick him on full court. I'm like, damn, this dude got like, you know, I'm like 21, just turning 22. This dude got real chest hair coming out of jersey, dog. Like, yeah, he like a grown ass man.
He
like, you know what I mean?
Manscaped.
Oh man, grown ass man. So I'm picking him up full court, and Stock didn't have a lot to him, but he hit them angles quick, right? Boom, 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 boom. And Stock ran his offense from inside college 3. Because if you touched him, it was a foul. So like, you know, you boom, boom. And I remember you get inside college, like he is not about to walk me to the free throw line and run the play.
He is about to walk you to the free throw line every fucking time.
So check this out, Doc. So I stand him up, right? And when I stand him up, we bounce off each other and the ball go right past my face. I duck. I'm thinking it's a back door. No one's behind me.
He was throwing the ball.
He threw the ball at my face. I'm like, yo. I look back at him. He said, back the fuck up.
A guy that just got it done, never flashy.
Choir boy with Mike Tyson's punch.
Playing against John Stockton would be like painting against Picasso. He's the best at it.
I think he's a dying breed, especially at the point guard position.
I think John's, over the years, has had the kind of respect that he's kind of set a standard for what the point guard position is all about.
I don't think anyone, you know, will come along with that type of stamina and can do it, you know, with that type of perfection for this long.
A guy who probably controlled a team and a game better than anybody I've ever seen.
Very pesty, but, you know, probably one of the greatest players to ever play the game in his position. That's on both ends of the court.
When they talk about records that'll never be broken, I think John's assist record will never be broken. I don't think there's a chance that'll even happen.
One of the greatest point guards to play the game, toughness, hard working.
And every time that I would play against him, I used to tell my boys, watch the game tonight. I don't care about other games you watch, but you watch John Stockton play.
Just goes to show you when you have God-given ability, you put it to the maximum of use, you make the best of every situation, you work hard every day, you do what's right, other great things can happen.
I think he's a very positive role model for our youth and for other players that are looking to come into the NBA.
He's just one of those role models, man. I mean, millions of kids could look at John and say, man, this is a guy I want to be just like.
There's no question in my mind, if you say one of the top point guards to ever play this game, John Stockton's name is going to be there because he is, and he's proven it.
If any guy out there in high school, junior high, wants to play the point guard position, they should try to be like John Stockton.
He wasn't fast enough. He never crossed anybody over between the legs behind the back. He just played the game like he's supposed to play it.
Two guys that just capable of winning games by themselves. That's at any age. The greatest screen role players I've ever seen in the game.
In terms of a twosome, they've probably, and their skills, have complemented themselves about as well as any two people, given the positions they played, and I suppose they've exploited each other well.
Carl brings the brute strength, the force, and John, the savvy, the passing, the shooting. Those two were lucky that had the opportunity to play with each other for so long.
I always resented Karl Malone for getting to play with a point guard that good, because that's all you really want. If you're gonna run the floor, like Karl, who's terrific, run the floor every play, you know you're gonna get the ball.
One of the great things about Karl Malone is that he might be the best running forward that has ever played the game. And one of the reasons he's such a great running forward is he plays with a point guard who will always give the ball out.
People talk about he and Malone being in the league so many years, but that's okay because they're farther ahead in knowledge of the game and how to play the game than many players ever will be.
The phrase freak of nature, I think, would fit him well. Nobody is supposed to be 40 plus years of age and still being able to do the things that he does.
You can take the 24-year-old and play against those guys, and quickness means nothing. It's when you take that burst of speed. How you come off a pick like John and runs it with Karl. He just knows how to basically sucker those other players into doing what he wants them to do. And that's just being a smart player.
It's good to watch him, teach the young guys a few tricks, because all the young guys can come in and run and jump and do all the fancy stuff. And, at the end of the night, he's 5 for 7 with 12 assists, and they can't figure out what happened.
He's just the ultimate point guard. I mean, you learn so much from him. When you're playing against him, it's very heady, smart.
He's a basketball genius. In order to do it, as long as he's done it, and as good as he's done it, you have to be smarter than the next guy.
That he's taken care of himself well over the years, and not only physically, but maintained his mental stamina as well.
There were days when I just couldn't seem to get my focus going, or wasn't feeling too good, or my back hurt, or whatever. You just go over and sit by John for a little bit, and all of a sudden you could get yourself dialed back in pretty quickly.
It's the ultimate gym rat.
And he's not doing it for the paycheck. He's doing it for the love of the game.
He is tenacious. He has a problem with losing.
It's one of those guys, every team wants a guy like John Stockton. You never know the guy was a superstar, the way he carries himself, and I like that.
He's very unimposing. When you meet John Stockton, he's like somebody's little brother.
He's never looked like a basketball player. But the shorty shorts, I know he used to hate this. I used to call him John Boy, because he reminded me of, in that TV series, the Waltons. John Stockton is a professional basketball player. And when I say that, I mean that he is the guy who you would want your son to play basketball like.
Well, he's the best point guard of all time. I mean, not only what he's been able to do at the peak of his career, but how he's been able to play with such consistency and longevity. It's amazing.
I used to have a coach that always say, make your teammate an all-star, all-pro. And that's what he tried to do every night.
Because I associate that with the way the point guard position is played. John comes over half court thinking, how am I going to set something up for one of the other 4 guys, rather than thinking, what am I going to do for myself?
You can't teach what John Stockton can see on the court under pressure.
Taking a visual picture of where the guys are on the floor, not having to look at a guy to make a play.
Well, you can anticipate when guys are going to be open. And that's a sign of a great passer, that can know when a guy's going to be open, know where he likes it, and deliver it there.
He's the all-time assist leader in steals, and people don't really talk about the steals as much as the assists, but he plays both sides of the court, and that's what makes him a complete player. For him to hold both records is an incredible achievement, and those 2 records will probably be there for a long time.
Defender, because he gets over those screens and picks with a lot of gusto. He doesn't allow guys to pick him off, and then if he has a mismatch, he doesn't allow a taller player to try to post him inside. So he's working diligently and relentlessly to get inside to stop the play.
He doesn't go out there and play around with the game. He's very serious about it. He's a smart basketball player. Everybody say he's dirty, but I think that's wrong. I think that's not a statement for him. I think that they should understand he goes out and play basketball the way he knows how to play, hard.
I tell people all the time, this to me has been like the greatest era of basketball
I got a chance to play against Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Michael Jordan, and you put John Stockton right in that group.
What a pass, John Stockton.
He's one of the few guys could pass a basketball where players wanted it. To me, it's phenomenal.
He's got him low. The mailman jumps it, shot up, it's in. He did it. He did it. A new NBA assist king, John Stockton.
There's never been a guy who made better basketball decisions with the ball, ever.
He tried to make every ounce of energy he had do something great every time he stepped out on the floor.
You can't be fooled by that, real nice face and, that real quiet demeanor. When he stepped out on the court, he was out to get you.
He had toughness beyond toughness, in my opinion. The fact that he would give himself up to set screens on big guys.
He was the guy.
There it is. Stockton stole the ball. Stockton stole the ball. He's the all-time leader in the history of the game.
I think that he's got the most steals and most assists by far of any player that ever played basketball. It's pretty amazing.
John Stockton, unbelievable, carrying the Jazz on his 6-1 frame.
Injury here, a little injury there, and right at game time I say, "Are you ready to go?" Yep.
So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and tell me what was your favorite John Stockton story. So make sure you like, share, subscribe, and until next time.